So Daredevil's back for his sophomore season, and with Wilson Fisk behind bars, it's over to the Punisher and Elektra to fill the void left by his enormous white stab-proof suit. As it turns out, that's quite a task. Whereas Kingpin had time to develop into a singular unstoppable force, Season 2 juggles antagonists to the slight detriment of the story. The Punisher literally explodes onto our screen, immediately gunning down the Irish mob in gruesome fashion. It quickly becomes apparent that he won't share the same longevity as Fisk. But John Bernthal does some amazing work as the batshit crazy vigilante, elevating his portrayal way beyond Dolph Lundgren's exceptional performance in 1989. Then there's Elektra, Daredevil's love interest slash pseudo-sidekick. Some of the season's more enjoyable scenes were the flashbacks between she and Matt. Unfortunately, that's all glazed over in a single episode, and it's a shame because the gulf between the two works really well. By rushing through their backstory, the present day scenes make Matt and Elektra's relationship feel a bit slapdash, and there's very little in the way of emotional payoff when Elektra meets her ultimate demise, though it is heavily signposted, so maybe that's the reason for the disconnect. Or maybe I'm just a heartless son of a bitch. Charlie Cox continues to nail it as Daredevil. He's credible both in and out of the costume, blind man's buff indeed, and he shares an easy chemistry with whomever he's on screen with, the standout example being the graveyard scene in episode 4. Cox offers up a level of sincerity that makes even the Punisher soften in his presence. We start to learn the depths of Frank's twisted soul, pushing Bernthal's performance even beyond Thomas Jane's superb work in 2004. We're again treated to the kind of R-rated action that goes above and beyond anything you'd see in the average Marvel movie, including another extended single-shot fight sequence. And while technically masterful and enjoyable to behold, there are a few punches that don't seem to land or that appear a little weak. Normally I wouldn't gripe about these things, but they do stand out when the rest of the violence is so visceral and extreme. Literally dozens of characters are shot, stabbed, strangled, poisoned, arrowed, exploded, ice-picked and meat-hooked. There are, however, some truly epic moments that got me baying for blood. One that springs to mind is a scene where the Punisher takes on a horde of angry prisoners. The show really comes into its own in episode 7. With the Punisher apprehended and due to face trial, the supporting characters get several moments to shine, and there are some enjoyable legal elements. We also get a dialogue on the philosophical side of vigilantism. Daredevil distances himself from Punisher's methods because Frank kills. The discussion is used to good effect to drive a wedge between Karen and Matt's burgeoning romance. But come on, surely Matt sees the similarities between his own brutal methods and the Punisher's. Okay, so he's not going around shooting people, but twatting someone over the head with his billy club could quite easily kill a man. Following the breakdown of the Punisher's trial in episode 8, the overall quality does drop somewhat. It's clear the show doesn't quite know how to reconcile its gritty approach with the newer supernatural elements, and there's just way too much plot crammed in. Let's take episode 10 for example. Why would Matt go to see Fisk in prison? It's not even convincingly explained. He's coming face to face with a calculating psychopath, hell-bent on eliminating his adversaries. Surely Fisk begins to suspect Murdoch of being Daredevil, and on top of that, Matt's the man who put him away. With Fisk firmly in control of the prison at this point, wouldn't he have just killed Matt on the spot? And this isn't a man who goes easy on his enemies. Let's not forget how he beheaded a man for embarrassing him in front of Vanessa in season 1. You embarrassed me in front of her. I mean, it's ridiculous. The scene delivers on so many levels. A rare moment between these two bitter rivals that's played out magnificently, creating a palpable sense of dread. But with a hasty setup and lazy dialogue, it becomes clear that tying up loose ends is the priority for the remainder of the season. And with major question marks hanging over the future of the Daredevil series, and 2017's The Defenders hot on its heels, the writers obviously had their work cut out. But the upshot is some very crowded final episodes populated by some very one-dimensional characters. Thankfully, the show's biggest unsolved mystery is finally put to rest. That being how each employee of a supposedly failing law firm can go out and get legless every night, despite being paid in fruit. Foggy finally pays off their long-standing bar tab, and each of the characters go their separate ways. Aw, even Josie looks sad. In many ways, this season feels almost like the TV equivalent of Age of Ultron, with all the disparate elements being dragged into place to make way for the next phase. Foggy's got his new job, Karen's taken over the Ben Urich role, and Elektra's being resurrected, which will presumably see them cameo in the many upcoming series. Kingpin's waiting in the wings to emerge as Marvel TV's equivalent to Thanos, with his next obvious destination being in the newly announced Punisher spin-off. And now that he's got his own series, perhaps Bernthal can finally eclipse Ray Stevenson's outstanding portrayal in 2008. It took me a little longer than expected to get through season 2, but it mostly lives up to its predecessor. And even with its flaws, I'm looking forward to seeing what the future holds for the Man Without Fear. Overall, it gets 4 bruised Punishers out of 5. But what do you think about Daredevil Season 2? Do you think they need to sort out the costume? Because right now it's lingering somewhere between Rimmer, Batman and Mortal Kombat's Kano? If so, let us know in the comments section. Thanks for watching and please subscribe for more upcoming videos.